behind the dazzling lights of America's biggest cities lies a dark side rarely captured by cameras. It's not found among the skyscrapers or the bustling streets of New York, but in small towns whose names most people have never even heard of. Imagine this. In the most advanced country in the world, there are still places where people earn just around $13,000 a year, and that's after working tirelessly day in and day out. How is that even possible? And more importantly, how do they keep going? In this video, we're going deep into the heart of America's poorest small towns. Our data comes from official sources like the U.S. Census Bureau and Data USA. We're focusing on communities with fewer than 5,000 residents, rural towns that reflect an economic crisis most people don't see and few ever talk about. But behind the numbers are faces, stories, and struggles that never make the front page. At the top of our list is Batesville, Texas, one of the most isolated towns in the entire United States. With a population of just 1,163 people and an average annual income of only $13,697, Batesville offers a stark picture of the challenges facing many rural communities across the nation. This town once relied heavily on agriculture to support its economy, but over time, as farming opportunities shrank, Batesville's economic foundation crumbled. Today, residents fight to survive, many depending on seasonal labor or running small local businesses just to make ends meet. After Batesville, we head to the state of Alabama, another region struggling with similar hardships, though shaped by a different economic backdrop. With a population of 1,865 and an average annual income of just $14,094, Uniontown ranks as the second poorest small town in the country. Located in Alabama, this tiny community is fighting hard to survive in the face of serious economic hardship. Like Batesville, Uniontown once relied on agriculture as its backbone. But today, many fields sit abandoned and jobs are scarce. High unemployment and low education levels make it even harder for the town to turn things around. Still, while Uniontown paints a bleak picture, the next town on our list, Citrus City, offers a slightly more hopeful outlook, though it's still grappling with similar struggles. Back in Texas, we find Citrus City, a town of 2,843 residents with a median income of about $14,113. Though it's one of the poorest towns in America, Citrus City shows a bit more promise in agriculture than others on this list. Once famous for its orange groves and fertile farmlands, the town has seen that prosperity fade due to climate change and a serious lack of infrastructure investment. These days, many residents try to get by with small-scale businesses and manual labor. But for most families, economic opportunity remains painfully limited. Next, we head to Mississippi, a state that's consistently ranked among the poorest in the nation. Here, we find Tchula, a town of just 1,845 people with an average income of $14,412. Even smaller than Citrus City, Tchula also leans heavily on agriculture as its primary source of income. As local factories shut down and more people move away to larger cities, Tchula's economy has taken a steep downturn. Still, in the middle of all this, the community is trying to fight back through farming initiatives and local crafts that aim to breathe life back into the town. After seeing Tchula's struggles, we head north to Baldwin, Michigan, a town that may be slightly bigger, but faces many of the same economic hurdles. With a population of around 1,310, This scenic little town is caught in the same economic crisis plaguing much of rural America. The average annual income here is only $14,464. Once sustained by forestry and farming, Baldwin has seen both industries steadily decline over the years. Poor infrastructure and limited access to education make the situation even worse. Many residents struggle to find steady work, and although there are local efforts to spark a revival, the road ahead remains incredibly tough. Next is a small town in Georgia with a name that might sound familiar: Franklin. Like many rural communities, Franklin once depended almost entirely on agriculture, but that sector has suffered a steep decline. With a population of roughly 1,050, the town now reports an average income of just $15,313 per year. In the face of an ongoing economic downturn, many families in Franklin are finding it harder and harder to meet their basic needs. Still, the people here continue to fight back through community programs offering job training and new economic opportunities. From Georgia, we head back to Michigan, this time to Highland Park. This town has seen a dramatic economic collapse. Despite having a population of more than 10,000 people, the average yearly income stands at just $15,699. Once a thriving hub for America's automotive industry, Highland Park began to crumble when major factories shut down and manufacturers moved their operations overseas. Unemployment soared. On top of that, residents now face serious gaps in education and healthcare access, leaving many of them barely hanging on. While there are grassroots efforts to rebuild, offering skills training and social support, the town remains trapped in a deep cycle of poverty, just like so many other struggling communities across rural America. In the state of Georgia, there's yet another town that falls into the category of extreme poverty. Besides Franklin, which we covered earlier, this one is Warrenton, a town with a population of nearly 2,000 people, 1,994 to be exact. Located in rural Georgia, Warrenton appears slightly better off compared to Franklin, with its more developed town center and an average annual income of $15,781. However, like many other rural towns, Warrenton has suffered a sharp decline in income over the years, mainly due to the shrinking agricultural sector and the disappearance of local industry. With high unemployment and limited educational resources, life in Warrenton is far from easy for most residents. Several buildings in the downtown area now stand abandoned. Still, there are local organizations working to uplift the community by providing skill training programs and new entrepreneurship opportunities. A similar situation can be found in Clarkson, Kentucky. This small town has just 1,218 residents and a median income of $21,250. Despite that number being slightly higher than some other towns on this list, Clarkson struggles with a poverty rate of 39.6%, one of the highest in the state. Even with a modest income average, residents here face serious challenges in finding stable jobs. The local economy relies heavily on agriculture and a handful of small businesses. But with limited infrastructure and few job opportunities, many families in Clarkson are stuck living in poverty. Government aid programs and skill-building workshops have become a lifeline for the people here. Mansura, Louisiana is the final town on our list, and it's one of the hardest hit. It may not be a household name, but this small town faces severe poverty. With a median income of $21,173 and a poverty rate of 47.3%, Mansura reflects some of the most difficult living conditions in rural America. Much like the others, Mansura once depended on agriculture, especially rice production and other crops. But that industry has steadily declined. Today, most residents rely on small businesses or seasonal jobs to make a living. Limited infrastructure and poor access to education only make things worse, even as government agencies and local organizations try to ease the burden. From Batesville, Texas to Mansura, Louisiana, our journey through these hidden, struggling towns shines a light on the deep inequality that still exists across the United States. While many of these communities are barely holding on, there's still hope. Community support, job training, and government assistance programs offer a small glimmer at the end of the tunnel. Maybe it's time we paid closer attention and realized that meaningful change can start with small steps in places most people have forgotten. And as fellow citizens, we have to ask ourselves, what can we do to help these towns survive and rise again?